Welcome along to KNTV and to another fascinating story. Now, Bill is 93 years old, but in his mid 80s, he was doing life his way and he felt that was okay. He had no time for God and actually had fallen out with him 30 years earlier. But then, on holiday in Spain, he had an encounter that would change his life forever.
Hi, I'm Bill. I'm 92, coming up 93. And I was born in London, West Ham. That was in 1928. I was born in the slums and my family was a big family. I had 8 sisters and 1 brother. And I had a very happy life, although it was poor. I was evacuated in 1939 to Weymouth, then into Northampton, all round the place, and I came back just before the end of the war. And I'll tell you a little thing about it as well. In Weymouth, when it was in Dunkirk, and all the troops and the French troops were being evacuated back into England, we was at the harbour watching the poor soldiers come back, and there was English and French. And the French were giving us little coins as little souvenirs, and one of them I believe was a half a centime or something like that. It was as big as a sixpence in the old days with a hole in it, and it fitted our cigarette machines. So being a naughty boy, I used to go to the machine, put these centimes in and get these packets of fags out, go back to the harbour and hand them out to the soldiers. And they were quite pleased receiving it. Anyway, after the war, I got a job as an ordinary clerical job in a garage, then in another big electrical place, and in the end I became a computer programmer. And at the age of 64 and a half, I left, got redundant from the firm, and I became a retired person. Very, very handy, very quiet, very nice, very lazy. Now, meanwhile, I'd met my wife and we'd got married, and we'd been married about 10 years, I think, 12 years, something like that. And we bought this house together, built it up, lovely. We were there till 2001. And in the end we got fed up with London being smoky and all the traffic and the noise. We wanted a bit of peace for our old age. So we went down the coast and we got a mobile home. Now the mobile home was lovely, but unfortunately every January it closed for 1 month. So we had to find somewhere to go. So we decided to go to Spain. And we went to Spain for every year, October till the end of January, perhaps November till the end of February. This time we decided in 2009 that we would have 5 months in Spain. 5 months sounded lovely in the sunshine, sitting on the balcony and my little totty, lovely. So we went there. When January came, we'd been there, as I say, from October, just over 3 months. My wife was homesick. She wanted to see the family. You know what women are like. They're more different than men because they're more maternal, Anyway, I said to her, I'm sorry, love, we can't go home till the end of January. We can't get into our mobile by then. We had nowhere else to go, but I promise you, I'll take you home on the 1st of February so that we can go back home. Make you happy, all right? They said, yeah, fine. And I said, oh, good. Another few weeks in the sun, I don't mind that. Anyway, one day there was a knock on the door, one Friday. And I opened the door and this young lady stood there. So I said, oh, hello. Oh, I'm the woman next door, she said. Our church is having a ladies' dinner tonight. I wondered if your wife would like to come. And my wife now was very upset at being homesick. She'd been crying, very sad. So I said, just a moment, I'll ask her. I called her out. I said, young woman next door wants to speak to you, love. So she went out there, and I thought they were going to talk women's talk, so I wasn't interested, so I went back out on the balcony. After about 10 minutes or a quarter of an hour, I heard my wife say, "Cheerio, see you later." Closed the door. She come in and said, she said, she's invited me to a ladies' dinner at for their church, and would I like to go? And she said to me, "Do you mind if I go?" So I said, "By all means, a bit of peace and quiet, you know." "Okay, you go." So she went. And it come to about, I don't know, 11 o'clock, and I started getting worried. We were early bedders. We didn't go out late at night, never did. And this was very late for me and me wife. Now, I didn't know the people next door or anybody in the church that they were going to, and I didn't know what was happening. I don't know. Could have been white slavery for all I know. You know, you don't know these things, do you? So anyway, I thought to myself, no, not good enough. I've got to go next door and find out what's happened. So I went down, knocked on the door, and the husband came. I said, "I'm next door, Bill next door." I said, "Your wife took my wife to a ladies' dinner. It's now 11:30. Are they all right? Have you heard anything from them?" So I said, "Don't worry." He said, "They're like our women. After church, they go somewhere and have a coffee or something. They're all right, they'll be back." I said, "Okay, thank you. I hope so." I went back. It come to about 5 to 12. I'd had enough. No, I've got to do something. I went to go to the door, and all of a sudden I heard voices. My wife and the next door girl, laughing and chatting. I was so relieved. Opened the door, and they were grinning like Cheshire cats. "Hello." I said, "Hello, have a nice time?" They said, "Yes, thank you." So I say to her, "See you later, Nicky." She come in and said, "I had a lovely time." Me, I'd been sitting there worrying for an hour, worrying about what's happened to her. I wasn't interested in listening to anything about church things or anything like that. So I said to her, "Sorry, love, I'm tired. Let's go to bed. Talk to me about it in the morning. I'll listen in the morning." So we went to bed. Next morning she was full of it again, explained all how she'd enjoyed it and decided she was going to the church on Sunday. She said, "No, I asked her," asked the woman next door, Nicky. She said, "Yes, would your husband like to come?" She said, "Would you come with me?" "Sorry, love. I'm not interested in church. If it makes you happy, you go. I'll stay where I am." "You sure?" I said, "Yes, well, off you go." So she went. Came back, full of it again, told me all about what had happened and how the people were so nice to her and happy and how they sang and everything else. "Would I like to go next week?" I said, "No, thank you. Don't ask me. You just go when you want to. Leave me where I am." I did this for 3 Sundays. Now I was getting fed up because I liked company of my wife and I liked me coffee on the veranda or the patio Sunday mornings with the sun shining, beautiful, and she always made me tea. I had to make it myself this time. No, didn't like it. So I decided that just for the company's sake, I'd go with her next Sunday. I went. They were standing up, sitting down, clapping, arms up. I thought, all I knew was the Church of England, and they were sober. You know, you go in there and say your prayers and hear the hymns and blessing and sacraments and whatever, come back, and the vicar was outside saying, "Thank you very much, goodbye." But this Pentecostal church was noisy. Oh, never heard so much noise. Got back home, my wife said, "What do you think of it?" I said, "Oh, all right, but not my cup of tea. I don't think I'll come anymore." But anyway, decided next Sunday come, realised I was going to be on my own again and make my own tea. I said, "I think I'll come with you again." I said, "All right." And I did this for about 3 weeks. And after that, my wife had been there 6 weeks and she was full of it. Didn't want to go back home. So I thought, "Oh, good, more sunshine." Anyway, the woman next door came in, knocked on the door. And this was her birthday. And she said to us, "Oh, hello, how are you getting on?" I said, "Oh, fine, thanks, having a nice time." She said, "What do you think of church?" I said, "All right." Yes, sure. So she said, I was wondering, she said, you seem, or Rose seemed very happy. We wondered if you would like to receive God back in your heart again. Me? No, thank you. Not interested. You're doing a bit quick, ain't you? No, give me a few weeks to think about it. So she said, okay, no harm. Had a chat, had our coffee. Out she went. I sat thinking, I thought to myself, I'd fell out with God for 33 years due to a crisis in the family that I thought God had let me down, and I didn't want nothing more to do with him. And I thought, I don't know. They all seem so happy about it. I think I'll try, but first I'll ask God if he's willing to come back in my life after deserted him for 33 years. I said, but I've decided to pray, and I asked God for a sign if he was willing to come back in my life. This happened for 2 days, prayed, no sign of anything. I thought, oh, this is it. He's not interested in me. The Wednesday morning come, and I went into the bathroom, had my usual shave, shower, etc. I went to shave, and suddenly I realised I used to have a big mole there, nasty colour. My Rose was very worried, my wife was very worried about it, and she wanted me to see a specialist about it. I said, no, it's all right, we leave it till we go home. And when I looked, I suddenly realised it had gone. It had actually fallen to the floor. No sore, no blood, no nothing. It was though I'd never had it. Then I realised that must have been the sign from God to say he was willing to come back in my life. That I was shocked. I didn't expect it really. Rushed into my wife into the lounge and said to her, look. And she thought I was going mad. I said, what do you mean, look? I said, look, it's gone. And she went, oh. Anyway, in that instant, it was though God was working there and then. In that instant, knock on the door. Woman next door come in. So she goes, hello, she said. So I said to her, hello, Nicky, do you remember I hid my head like, I said, do you know the water I've got on here? She said, yeah, I've seen it, she said, it's a bit funny, she said, are you going to have it seen to? I said, there's no need to, look, it's gone. And she said, well, that's strange, isn't it? I said, no. I said, I'll tell you now, I prayed to God after you went for right up to now, asking him to give me a sign. Don't you think that's the sign? Oh, she said, hallelujah. So I said, yes, I want God back in my life. I've done about Rose. Rose said, yes, she said, I'd like God back in my life. It was there and then that she prayed and God come back into our lives. And to this day, I've never looked back, and my wife's never looked back. We have our problems now and again with our health and that, but God looks after us. We just pray and leave it into his hands and we get better. And so I've got one message for you people, especially you oldies. I was 82 when I became a Christian. You might be thinking that you've thought about becoming a Christian but you're too old for it. Don't worry, you're never too old, never. You could be 100 and God would still take you back. So think about it if you want about it. Find a church, go there and receive God. And you'll be as happy as me. God bless.